One of the top skills the Army teaches you is how to sleep anywhere at any time. But when you're in basic training, you better not get caught sleeping when you're not supposed to. I did see a few people nod off and pay the consequences. I myself made that mistake twice in basic training, so let's start there. Now, you'd assume that not getting caught sleeping when you're not supposed to versus getting caught is always better. That's not always the case. What I used to do in basic training is, when it's time to go to sleep, I'd pull my extra blanket on top of my bed and sleep on top of the covers. The reason I did that is that in the morning, all I had to do was fold my dust cover and then just tie my bed up for inspection. Then I could shave before everyone else and skip the line. What I would do with this extra 15 to 20 minutes is take a nap in the bathroom stall. Just like clockwork, my legs would fall asleep if I was sitting there for over 15 minutes, so it would wake me up and I'd make it to formation on time. The reason I stopped doing this is one day I fell into such a deep sleep, I slept through morning formation and breakfast. I have no idea how my drill sergeants didn't notice me missing, but on this particular day, we were rocking to the range. So instead of doing PT in the morning, we went straight to breakfast, or they did without me. So once I woke up and realized that everyone had already left, I just waited until they got back. That day we did a foot march to the range with our rucksacks and body armor on, and then did squad movements for hours at the range. You might think I got away with it scot-free. Well, I can tell you that it was an absolutely miserable day since I didn't get to eat until lunch and was starving. You burn a ton of calories since your entire day is physical and basic. Without missing a meal, you're already uncomfortable, let alone if you're missing food. On top of that, we had up chow delivered to the field, which is the hot food that comes from the chow hall. Yes, it's warm and it tastes better, but there's much, much less. So the whole day I felt miserable from not eating enough. The time I got caught sleeping when I wasn't supposed to was during our FTX. From my understanding, the FTX or Final Field Training Exercise is now a different event at Fort Moore/Benning. It used to be 5 days in the field with hardly any sleep, little food, and lots of drill sergeant shenanigans to complete your infantry training. On our third day out there, everyone was starting to feel the fatigue of being up all night with simulated attacks on our fire base. We were sitting in our fighting holes when I started to look around and see that everyone was starting to close their eyes to catch a couple of minutes of rest. I thought, hey, why not? Maybe I should close my eyes too for some rest. I'm sure I'll hear the warning that the drill sergeant's coming before he gets here. Next thing I knew, my drill sergeant was standing over top of my hole while I was slowly coming awake. I heard him start to yell, "Oh, so you don't want to stay in parade rest either?" I knew I fucked up. Everyone was running up the mountain towards the fob, so I started to when he told me to start bounding the opposite direction down the hill. After a minute or two of bounding, I turned around and saw that he was yelling at two other people in my company. Then he turned back at me and yelled, "Fall down, you're dead." I heard him yell at the two other guys to come grab me since I'm a casualty and bring me back to the fob. So my two buddies had to pick me up and carry me up the foresty hill. I was incredibly embarrassed and just kept apologizing to them that they had to carry me up the hill. Luckily, it was only about 200 meters when my drill sergeant said that I was alive and I could run the rest of the way. Thankfully, the two other guys were my friends, so I didn't get any internal repercussions, but still felt like shit, which is what I imagined the drill sergeant was going for. There were a lot of times I had seen other recruits fall asleep and get various punishments, but the most memorable one was when a recycled soldier fell asleep when his first sergeant was talking to us. If I remember correctly, he got recycled because he couldn't qualify with his rifle, which is pretty strange for an infantryman since you just have to get 23 out of 40 for marksman. We were at a single movement lane when all of us were saying information as our first sergeant started to talk to us. All of a sudden, two drill sergeants converged on the recycled guy. They started screaming, all you could hear is, "Are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna fall asleep when first sergeant's talking to you?" Once all the drill sergeants realized what had happened, they started screaming at us to do push-ups and sit-ups and run in place. It was one of those times when you're changing exercises so quickly that you're essentially doing burpees. It didn't help that we're in full body armor with our rifles, but they had the guy that was recycled that fell asleep not do it. They kept him standing at the position of attention while yelling at him that since he's so tired, he doesn't have to do the exercises with everyone else. After about 15 minutes of those modified burpees, they had us start running around the firing range, touching various things in our full kit. They made sure that they kept berating the recycled guy that caused the whole entire punishment to happen. They were obviously trying to make a point and shame the guy that pissed them off. The running lasted another 15 minutes or so when they finally had to stop. Of course, we were all irritated at the guy, which again was the point. Moral of these stories, don't fall asleep when you're not supposed to. Especially if you're in the field. If you fall asleep while on fire guard, the drill sergeant's going to wake up your entire platoon and then you're all going to have to pull security and it's going to piss your peers off. You need that sleep, so remember, the more you stay awake during the day, the more you get to sleep at night. If you made it this point in the video, I greatly appreciate you watching. Please don't forget to leave the video a like and the channel subscription. Remember, take care of yourself and take care of each other.